So I am trying to keep this at 10 minutes. I got a haircut because I couldn't take how I was looking, especially on camera. That's going to help me. But I also discovered, I think I discovered that I can get my face out of here altogether, which is going to be my hope. But here's the screen we're going to be looking at. How do I do that? And then I'll change over to what it's supposed to be. And then, is there a way to get my face out of here? I don't think there is. I don't know it yet. If you know, let me know. Okay, so let me hustle because my goal is to show you that it doesn't take a lot of time to do what we're trying to do here, which is manage a little stash of money and make it work for itself. And then you can see how that works. So here's where we are. Let's see. The other day, when I last thing I talked about was this Weeble. I had left them or did a video where I talked about um, the possibility of doing this. So what I'm going to do with these 10 minutes actually is go through what I have done with this trade altogether. And to do that, yep, it's on that account. So earlier in the week, if you look here on the chart part here, you can see that, or what I had mentioned was that I mentioned I'd spoken to a coworker who's also into trading and kind of got a concurrence, or I'm sorry, yeah, he concurred that it looked like this was going to happen because we were looking at some structure stuff that, or I was looking at some structure stuff that kind of told me that this was a spot that would need to be breached, and if it were breached, uh, that would be beneficial for a trade that I was trying to make. I'm trying to figure out how to say this all. So anyway, with the Weeble account, or I mean with the Weeble, my problem is getting used to everything that I'm doing here. Is with the notes on it. It looks like I don't have any notes at all. So let's just start with that because what I like to do is have a log with each piece and show what I've actually done with the with the stock. So on that one, I started on the 23rd, which was earlier in the week. I bought it for 13. Or no, I guess here's what it is. I bought. It's just how they do it in this world. Um, 100 shares, 14.43. So about 100 shares at 14.43. Um, okay, so that was my cost. Also on 923. Well, let me do this way. Put that there. Tab that over just so I can see better. Okay, and then we're going to tab over. I also on 923 sold the 1450 call. Okay, so what that means is I bought the 100 shares for $14.43. At the same time, I sold a $14.50 call to someone for 44 cents. So it was a 14. How do I usually do this? This is the problem I have is remembering these order. 1450 call. Well, I'll get it straightened out. For 44 cents is what I paid for it. Now, oh, that's what I did. That's how I did it. Okay. So I bought that $15 call for what date? 9, well, I like to type that, for September 26th. Okay, so for Friday, for 44 cents, no, at 44 cents, which then brought my cost basis. This is how I like to, this is where I'm ultimately going here, right? Down to $13.99. So at that moment, and in fact, when the transaction happened, I bought the 100 shares for $14.43. I sold the call at the same time for 44 cents, bringing my actual withdrawal from my account. I could show you up here, but withdrawal from my account was actually 1,399, right? 1,399 times 100 shares. Okay, so that was what was initially taken out, was 1,399. Then on the 24th, the next day, I was able to roll. And when we roll, what we're doing is we are buying the call back. So I sold it for 44 cents the day before. And here the next day it had gone up, or not up in price. I caught it at a moment where it had dipped just a little bit in price. And so I was able to buy it back for 36. So basically a little bit less than what I paid for it. But then selling that same contract for next week, next Friday, October 3rd, I was able to sell it for 80 cents. 80 cents, buying back this one for 36 cents, and then selling that one for 88 or for 80 cents, leaving me with a 44-cent credit, or $44. And that was put in right above here, so you just can't see it. I'll show in a minute. So what I did was I rolled that 14.50 call to October 3rd at another 44-cent credit, right? This one actually went in the pocket, but also, and most importantly, brought my cost basis down another. I'm just doing this to do it. Another $13.99 is my cost basis, minus another 44 cents. Bring me down to 55, right? So I'm down to 13.55 on the cost, right? So if I can sell the shares for 13.55, I break even. But I have a contract at this point to sell them for 14.50. Then the next 2 days later, on Friday morning, which this is where I think I kind of mentioned in the video that I was going to try and see if I could get it done while I was at work, and I was indeed able to capitalize on a move where I rolled not for one more week. So what I've done at this point, so here we go again. I sold that contract for 80 cents. Okay. I bought that one back for 36. This is where you kind of got to follow along, and I can't clip, so hopefully you can follow where my like right now it's on my face, the pointer. I think you can see the pointer's on my face. So here I am up here where it's green and red. Starting at the top green line, right? So I did the 44. Now I took in 44. At the same time I paid out 14.43, bringing me down to 13.99. A couple days later, or 1 day later, I bought that one back for 36 cents, but sold a new one for 80, which brought me 44 cents. So immediately, or for the week rather, I'm at 44 cents, and that brought me down here to 13.55. Now, 2 days later on Friday, I was able to go ahead and roll once again that 1450, but this time, because over here looking at the chart, by Friday, because this is Friday, this is the these are each day, and I'll go over what candles are, what they are, but you can kind of visually see that it was going up each day, because these are each days. So on Friday, because it had finally done exactly what I had called for it to do, or thought that it might do, it did that. And because it did that, it went up a little bit. I was like, okay, let me try this. And I actually rolled it up to a 15. So now I have a contract for them to buy it for $15. Remember, I paid 14 for it originally. My original outlay was 1400. So now I have a contract for them to buy it back, buy it out at 1500. So, or $15. So where am I at? Boom. I was able to sell that contract for $1.27, which paid for the amount that I did there, and gave me. So I rolled it up, rolled it both forward and up in price to the $15 call, and in doing so took in a 47-cent credit. So the same week took in that other percent. So now what I'm going to need is discipline and patience to leave this thing alone and just take the windfall and not keep messing with it, because it's tempting to try, oh, can I do that again? Can I do that again? Instead of just letting this go. Because now this puts me in leaving this alone for 2 weeks, right? Because next Friday, the 3rd, I just rolled it out to the 10th, but I took in that 47 cents. At 47 cents, bringing my cost basis down yet again to 13.55 minus 47 is 08. Is that right? 47 and 8 is 55. Yeah. So that brings me down to a 1308 is what I have in on it, or I've taken my money back. Of the 13.99 I put in, I took back 44. Well, the 44 cents was the original. So of the 13.99 that I put in right here, I took in the 44 cents and then another 47 cents. So $92, 97.41, $91 that I've taken back from my 13.99, which is what 91, which is why it's 1308. So it's 1308 is what my cost basis is on the stock right now. But I have a contract to sell it for 15, which means I'll be getting almost a $200 profit on the 14. And again, we're looking to do, ultimately, my goal is to do 1% a week. This is why I say I need to keep my hands off and let it finish cooking and wait until dinner and then leave it alone, because the 1400 that I originally played, 13.99, right, times 0.01% is just $14. I'm looking at $200. That's a, how do I even do that one, right? Let me see. That's $200 divided by the 13.99 that I've actually put in. It's a 14%. That's 14% on that money in a month. Just be happy with that and leave it be. Not to mention, if it should dip, just, if it should just go to the point where, what am I trying to say? Where if it should just go just beneath the strike, so now it's $15. So if the price should get up here to say $16, or well, right now it's at 15, 16. So let's just say within a day it goes up, or it has a pullback even. Let's say that now next week it goes down a little bit, and someone and let's say the price goes down a little bit and I end up with the stock. Well, it can be as low as $13 and I can sell it and still be even. So even if it dips below the $15, say it comes back down to 14.50, and that that contract expires on the 10th and they don't buy it for $15, I still have the stock. I could turn around immediately and sell it for the 14.50, making 150 on top of the other premiums that I've already taken in. So it's at that point a win-win, and this is what our goal is, to try and just, again, like I said, keep my hands off of it at this point, because okay, let me do that so I can go back to the account itself. Um, because right now, like, my balance is only $16, and that's why I want to. But that's because of some purchases that I made also on Friday. Some I used all of the cash that I had collected from the premiums, because here we are again with the 13.99 that I paid out, and then I was able to collect in for. So when I did that 13.99, that took me down to $50. Remembering that I started with $1,000. So the 13.99 went up to the, so paid out, which left me with $50, and then the 44 came back in when I did that move here, right? When we did this. When we did this, we got the $44. When we did this, we got the $47. That's money that you're getting each day, right? So like if this had been $10,000 that I had in this account, and you multiplied all of this by 10, right? Instead of 14.99, you had 14,000 in there instead of 1,400, but you would be getting back $440, $470. You know what I mean? So all of that would be also at a zero, and that would be money that you're just bringing in to have for the week. Now I'm using that money to do this with, put into some different accounts. My plan is to kind of make this an account to be able to spend. That's something I'll do here with my weekend off. Is try and set up some different stuff. But now I'm just kind of thinking out loud, and I need to stop that, because I don't need to get sharing my personal business too much. I'm just trying to tell this to my people. That is primarily my sons, brothers, sisters, and uh, everybody who will listen, to try and make your money work for you, so that you're not getting stepped on. And I am going to stop it right there, because I'm over on the time that I wanted to do, but still trying to get there.